All right, guys, what's up? What's up? What's up? Now we got NFL Week 8 against the spread. We're going to be picking the games, 16 games this weekend on the NFL docket. And I will say this: last week we went 8-5. Now, before I get to the picks, I want to go over a few things. I know for the last couple of weeks we have not done a video, but if you followed us on social media, on Gridiron Steady, on YouTube, as well as Twitter or X, we have put up the picks. We have done that every week despite no video. But today we will do a video for the picks. And next week we will have our official Gridiron Steady NFL Power Rankings. We wanted to wait till about halfway point of the year. Next week will be about halfway. I mean, technically between this week and next week, we're about halfway through the season, and we will have those picks. Now, speaking of halfway through the season, already we're in week 8, guys. Like, I mean, the NFL season is just moving. It's moving so fast. It feels like yesterday we were in week 1, Lions Chiefs, right? On Thursday night. Now we're in week 9 or week 8, and things are just moving. Not everything has gone according to plan so far as our predictions of who we thought would have a good year or not. But a few teams are playing well, and we'll see where they rank next week when we do our official power rankings, our first one of the year. And I made a executive decision to do the power rankings at the halfway mark instead of doing it after like a few weeks, because I think after like 5, 6, 7, 8 games, you kind of get an idea of what these teams are really about, and that's where we see things moving forward. So last week we went 8-5. There's a couple of injuries that may affect some of the games this week, but the underdogs last week came through pretty well for us, right? A couple underdogs: Jags, Patriots, Colts, Bears, Giants, Broncos, Vikings all came through for us against the spread as underdogs. And I've been on the underdog bandwagon at least last week. But this week we're going to be riding out with some more underdogs, just so you know, against the spread as well. 5-2 on Thursday night against the spread this year. 5-2 through 7 weeks. So tonight we'll be picking Thursday night game. Buccaneers at Buffalo. Buffalo is 9.5-point favorites. Last week, Buffalo, tough loss against New England. Tough for them, great for us, the Patriot fans, as the Patriots pulled out a ending 4-quarter win. So Buffalo back at home again. Are they going to lose back-to-back weeks at home? Probably not. But they will not cover the spread. So we're going to take Tampa Bay in the plus 9.5 tonight against the Buffalo Bills. So now 9.5, I don't think the Bills are going to win by double digits. This is a game that the Bills, they are at home. I understand that, but the offenses are struggling. Tampa offense is also struggling a little bit, but I do think that Tampa will have enough to stay close. They'll lose the game, but the Bills will not cover. So you take the Bills, you take the Buccaneers in the plus 9.5. And like I said, we are 5-2 on Thursday night football against the spread. So let's make it 6-2. Moving on, we got the New England Patriots on Sunday, October 29th, 1 o'clock. Patriots head out to Miami. Now, we know Patriots historically, they struggled down in Miami for whatever reason, even during the Brady era. But this spread is 9.5. It's a big spread. I know Miami's offense is like one of the best in the league. but they score a lot of points, but they also give up a lot of points. And I don't think this team is a 10 points better than New England. I don't think the Dolphins are that great. I think the Patriots have a good enough defense to keep this game close. And there is some news about Tariq Hill, at least according to the time we're doing this video. Tariq Hill may not play. So if he doesn't play, that's going to be a a um a benefit for the New England Patriots secondary. Now, Dolphins have other offensive weapons, but we're gonna see if those offensive weapons are still as good without Tariq Hill. Now, the Patriots have done pretty well all year against number one receivers. Believe it or not, they have done pretty well. So whoever the number one is going to be, was that Jaden Waddle, whatever, the Patriots will be ready for him, and they'll probably lock him up. The battle of the Alabama QBs, Mac Jones versus Tua Tagovailoa, and so we'll see how that goes. The two former Alabama QBs will go at it on Sunday. Now, I'm taking the Pats plus 9.5, and it's not because, look, I take the Pats every week no matter what. But I wouldn't put money on the Pats, me personally, because I'm not going to put money on a team that I root for. So I always pencil in the Patriots no matter what, plus 9.5. But I still think this is if any of you bettors out there that picking games, I still think this is a good pick. Patriots plus 9.5. Anyway, will the Patriots probably lose? Could they lose in Miami? Yeah, they could lose. But they're coming off a big win against Buffalo. They got confidence. Tariq Hill may not play. And the spread is 9.5. It's a division game against a division opponent. Patriots have a solid defense and a good defense. A division game going up against another division rival without their top receiver. I think that this 9.5 is a large spread, and I think New England will be okay. I hope the Pats win, but if the Dolphins do win, they probably win under 9. So take the Pats plus 9.5. All right. If you're a gambling man. Now let's go on to the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles will be heading to Washington to take on the Commanders. Now this is another game, division game with a touchdown and more point spread. You know how I feel about these point spreads that are division games that are point spreads of 7, 8 or more. But this is right on the line, right? This can go either way. I mean, the Eagles. If I had a gun to my head, I'd probably go Eagles -7. But I don't have a gun to my head, so I could be a little bit more flexible here, and I'm going to stick with the underdog. I think the Washington Commanders, who played the Eagles, I think didn't they beat the Eagles not that long ago? If I'm not mistaken, I believe they did. I have to go back and look. It was like, let me go back. I could be wrong. Let me see. Yeah, no, they lost. They lost in a close game. I think it was in overtime back on October 1st. So, and this time the game is in Washington. So it's a +7 spread. The game was close last time in Philly. This is a division game. I would stick with the +7 for the I was about to say Redskins, for the Commanders. So another underdog. We're taking 3 straight underdogs so far in this game, but we're not done with the underdogs. So take Washington and the +7. And that's how I look at it for these division games. Washington will be looking to try to go 4-4 on the year, as the Eagles will look to go to 7-1. Now, Saints and Colts. The New Orleans Saints, looking to hit the 500. Both teams are under 500. Both teams are 3-4, and a win here. Imagine if the Colts win this game and they go 4-4 through 8 games. That would be pretty impressive for a team that is struggling. Right? The quarterback is hurt. They had the backup come in, um, but both teams got their running backs. We'll see if Jonathan Taylor can come around and get things rolling for the for the Colts. Derek Carr is struggling a bit, just a little bit, and Gardner Minshew for the Colts. This guy he's a player. He's a baller. And we heard about the Chris Olave arrest early this week when he got arrested for speeding and he tried to play the I'm an NFL player card, and the police officer said, and like, who gives a shit? Like, okay, you're going to jail, right? So I don't know what's going on with that, but the guy likes to speed. We'll see if he can speed on Sunday on the field against the Colts. Now we know Richardson is out, so Minshew will get the start for the Colts. Statistically, here, both of these teams, the Colts are better offensively than the Saints. Colts have a top 10 offense. Am I reading that right? A top 10 offense? The Indianapolis Colts have a top 10 offense. Gotta give them credit. But their defense is at the bottom of the barrel. So on third down. Third down defense, for some reason, the Colts have stepped up on third down. Saints are also pretty good on third down defense. And their defense is solid as well. Saints defense will be trying to carry this team. So you got a good defense versus a good offense, a top 10 defense versus a top 10 offense. Both teams suck offensively. Saints offense is a little shaky. Colts defense is at the bottom. So this is a close game, right? Everything on paper says this is going to be a close game. We're going to go with the Colts at home with the +1. So that's 4 straight games. We're taking the underdog here in a pretty impressive run. And I just like the underdogs. For some reason, underdogs have come through pretty big, and we're going to roll with them again here. Now, let's move on to the the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Pittsburgh Steelers. In Pittsburgh 4-2 on the year. They're second in the division. And how about the Steelers? Right after that first 0-2 start, they just rolled around. They started getting it going. And the Jags are playing well too. They're 5-2, and they're looking to distance themselves as a legit AFC championship contenders. Now, you gotta give Doug Peterson credit for what he's done with the Jags. And I think that this spread, you got the Jaguars are only 2.5 point favorites. I think they can go into Pittsburgh and win. It's not going to be easy, of course. They're taking a 4-game winning streak into Pittsburgh, and we'll see if the Steelers can get a win themselves. Now, could you imagine the Steelers win to go to 5-2? This will be a huge victory for the Pittsburgh if they can get it done. Trevor Lawrence versus Kenny. Is it Kenny Pickett going to be starting? I believe so. And this is going to be a good game, guys. I think it's going to be one of the better games this week. So if I had to bet, I'm taking the Jags, though, in the -2.5. Jags are favorites on the road. I think they get the win flat out. Take the Jags. Next, the New York Giants are hosting their in-state rival, the New York Jets. In-state as in New Jersey, because both teams play their home games in New Jersey, in the swamp, right? up there. So the Jets will go for their third win in a row against, and they get bragging rights game against the New York Giants. Jets are 3-3. They're Jets are if we told you Aaron Rodgers would be out for the year, but the Jets would be 3-3 through 6 games, you probably think we're crazy, or anybody was crazy for suggesting that. Maybe a Jet fan thought that, but I don't even think Jet fans would have believed this at this point. But the Jets are 3-3, and they're a 500 team, third in the division. But this will be an impressive victory if they could get one, because this is a winnable game for the Jets. Let's just be honest. The Giants are not all that. They're going to be throwing out Tyrod Taylor, I believe. They're not all that. This is a winnable game for the New York Jets. But I'm taking the Giants here. The +3, I'm giving it to the Giants. I think the Giants are the underdogs here, despite being a home team. A home team at the home. There are gonna be Giant fans in the building mostly. But they're +3. We're taking the Giants. But would I be shocked if the Jets won? No, I would not be. I would not be surprised if the New York Jets won this game. So, by the way, I think the over under in that Jet game was 30, not 36. One of the low ones of the week. Yeah, that's the lowest one so far. Now, the lowest one, lower than that, we'll get to that in a few minutes. Next up, we got the Houston Texans headed out to Carolina to take on the Panthers down in Charlotte. Carolina Panthers, Texans are 3.5-point favorites in this game. How about the Texans this year? Texans are a 500 team through 6 games. Panthers are 0-6. Panthers are basically, they have shut it down. I think they're done. Will they win a game is going to be the question for Carolina as they try to stay at pace for the top pick. But it's 2 of the top 2 draft picks square off, and CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. So one team is headed upward or middleward, and the other team is headed to the bottom of the league or at the bottom of the league. 2 different directions. So we'll see what happens here. I'm taking the Texans in the -3.5. Over under in this game is 43.5, which is more than the Jet Giant game, even though it's 2 rookies starting here. So that's just how bad the offenses have been for the Giants and Jets. Well, the Jets do have a good defense, so that might have played a role in that over under. Moving on, let's go to the Atlanta Falcons and the Tennessee Titans. Now, let's talk about these Titans real quick. Titans are 2-4. They're at the bottom of the AFC South, while the Falcons are number 1 in the NFC South. Falcons right now 4-3. We'll see if Derrick Henry can run up against this Atlanta Falcons run defense, which is supposed to be pretty good. So we'll see how that works. Now, coming into the game, the Atlanta Falcons have the number 8th in the NFL in rushing yards allowed, their defense, and they also third in third down defense and 9th in points allowed, 7th in passing yards allowed, and 2nd in total yards allowed this season. So the Falcons defense will be the focal point for this game. And their offense is they're in games, right? Their offense is not great, but not terrible either. You know, they're in the teens in many of the categories, in the mid to low teens, and they rush the ball pretty well. They top the 8th in the NFL in rushing. So they got a run attack, they got solid defense. They have a recipe enough to win this game, and that's why we're going to take the Falcons on the road at -2.5. It's a risky play here because the Titans are at home, and the Titans can very well win this game without a doubt. But here's the kicker, right? Titans, uh, they haven't won a game. I mean, they have won one game. They're 2-1 at home this year, and they're gonna be 2-2 after this. So they're on a 2-game losing streak too. So their backs up against it as they're at the bottom of the AFC South. But I think the Falcons, they're gonna win. Next, and that's the lowest over under, by the way. Falcons Titans at 35.5. That's the lowest that we've seen. That might be the lowest of the Sunday games. Next up, the we got the Minnesota Vikings. This is another division game. Vikings at Green Bay, Lambeau Field, take on the Packers, and Packers are underdogs at home to the Vikings. Now, this is kind of a shocker a little bit. I know people like the Vikings, but there's no love being given to the Green Bay Packers from the sports gods. Kirk Cousins, he's statistically Cousins putting up some decent numbers, over 2,000 yards passing already, 16 touchdowns and 5 picks through 7 games. So Cousins is on pace to have a really big offensive numbers. Let me see. Now, Justin Jefferson, hamstring injury, he will be out. TJ Hawkinson, questionable with a foot injury. So there's a couple of injuries here in this game. And we'll see. Vikings come in with a top 3 passing offense. They don't rush the ball pretty well. So if I'm Green Bay, I try to force the Vikings to pass. Now, Green Bay has the 8th best pass defense, and they have the 30th worst rushing defense. So both teams, one team don't run the ball well, the other team does. So will the Vikings take advantage of the Packers' 30th ranked rushing defense to score points? They will have to run the ball. I see in this game, you're going to see maybe a heavy dose of Madison for the Vikings. He should take advantage. He's averaging about 4 yards per carry, so he should have a good day on the ground against the Green Bay Packers. But the Vikings love to throw the ball, so we'll see how they mix it up in this one. I think you're going to see a lot of ground game in this one, to be honest, because, I mean, the Packers, they don't give up a lot of passing yards, so maybe the Vikings switch it up. Who knows? So we'll keep an eye on that. But anyway, in this game, I'm taking the Green Bay Packers anyway at home, the +1.5. Well, look out for Madison for the Vikings to have a big game on the ground. That would be my prediction. Next, we got the LA Rams heading to Jerry's World to take on those Cowgirls. How about those Cowgirls? Cowgirls are now 4-2, second in the NFC East. And the LA Rams are 3-4. Rams are underdogs in this game. Cowboys are 6-point favorites. Over under in this game is 45.5. And Cowboys are on a 10-game home winning streak. So we'll see if the Cowboys can continue that streak at home. Nothing really notable here. Let's talk about the Cowboys. Offensively, Cowboys top 5 in scoring. Is top 4 in third downs. But the Rams have a pretty good offense too. I think this is going to be what defense can step up. Cowboys do come in with a top 10-ish defense, top 5 in some categories like yards, total yards, points. So everything is in favor of the Cowboys to win this game. I got the Cowboys in this -6 in Jerry's house. Sorry, Rams. Next up, the Cleveland Shits head out to Seattle to take on those Sea Chickens. The Seattle Sea Chickens, who are 4-2 so far this year and second in the NFC West. Now, the Cleveland Browns are also 4-2, believe it or not. Somehow they are 4-2 and they are underdogs in this game. 3.5 point underdogs, the Cleveland Shits, with who's at quarterback. Um, Now, PJ Walker is the leading QB who has not thrown a touchdown pass yet. He has a QB rating of 48. Somehow the Browns are 4-2. They just can't wait for Deshaun Watson to come back. Deshaun Watson will be questionable with a shoulder injury. We don't know his availability as of the time of this video. Walker and Lockett are questionable also for the Seattle Sea Chickens. So it's a really weird how is Cleveland 4-2. I don't know, but this game is all lined up for Seattle to win. I fully expect the Sea Chickens to beat the Cleveland Browns. So take the Sea Chickens in the 3.5 in this game. Over under is 38.5. So that's that. Now let's move on to Denver. Head out to the Donkey Land, where the Kansas City Chiefs and we'll head out to Denver to take on the Donkeys. Chiefs are 6-1. They're at the top of the division, while the Donkeys are at the bottom of the division, and they are 7-point underdogs. Now, division game, you know my rule. Division game. I was so close of going with the Chiefs here. I really did. But I looked at this game and I remember that these two teams did play against each other not too long ago. I think it was probably a few weeks back. And the Donkeys played the Chiefs probably the toughest 2 weeks ago. It was a 19-8 game. Denver couldn't really score, but they held the Chiefs to 19 points, which was their uh, one of their lowest of the year. So, it's going back to for the Chiefs. I believe that was their lowest output of the year offensively. One of the lowest, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go back, make sure I'm accurate here. Yeah, so week one, they had 21. No, the Jaguars. No, 17 was against the Jags. Yeah, so I mean, they had some close games this year. The Chiefs are not out there blowing guys out. I know they blew out the Bears in week 3, and they blew out the Chargers last week. But for the most part, they've been within one score games for most of the year. In the division, though, like I said, Broncos have played them tough 2 weeks ago in Kansas City. The game is now in Denver. I fully expect the Broncos to be in this game, and I'm taking the Donkeys in the +7 here. It was very close. It was pretty much a coin flip for me because I would have went to Chiefs, but I think I'm going to take the Donkeys. Chiefs will win the game, but they won't cover. And I understand the Donkeys will be without suspended Kareem Jackson, and they have lost 16 in a row against the Chiefs. I get all that. All that stuff is against Denver, but and it's going to be 17 in a row. But I just think that the game is going to be close. I believe it's going to be close. Chiefs win, but they won't cover. All right, let's move on. And that game over under, I believe, is what's the over on that? 45.5. So that's one of the big over unders. So they're expecting a lot of points. Bengals and 49ers. This is a game that is going to be a pretty good one. Now, it seems like the 49ers have come back down to earth over the last 2 weeks. Brock Purdy, the overrated Brock Purdy, is now Brock Purdy. 49ers are looking to snap a 2-game losing streak, and they are 3.5-point favorites at home against the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are 3-3, looking to keep moving up as as and what's going on here is Joe Burrow threw for 2 touchdowns in the first 4 games. Burrow has now in the last 5 has thrown in the last 2 games has thrown 5. So Burrow is getting healthier and healthier, and he's also hitting a 74% completion over the last 2 games. So Joe Burrow is back, and that's bad news for the NFL. That's all I gotta say. Christian McCaffrey for the 49ers scored 2 touchdowns last week. He moved them into the tie for the league with 11 on the season. So McCaffrey scored a touchdown in the past 16 games in the regular season and playoffs, one shy of Lenny Moore's NFL record. McCaffrey 13 games with a touchdown, catch, and run are second most all time to Marshall Faulk, who has 15. So the key matchup everyone wants to know is going to be Jamal Chase versus Charvarius Ward. I know I said that wrong. Sorry, the Ward family out there. I screwed that up. I know I did. Niners will look to contain Cincinnati big time receiver. And Ward has done a good job this year slowing down number 1 targets. Except for last week, of course, where he got manhandled by Jordan Addison. And an end zone for touchdown. So anyway, Chase has 40 catches and 486 yards over the last 4 games. So Chase is going to be looking to do some things. Now, Brock Purdy was in concussion protocol at the start of the week, and his status for the game is doubtful, as Sam Darnold will start if Purdy cannot go. And Deebo Samuels will miss another game, so he's out. So everything is in favor here of the Bengals. Now, a little bit of stats here, a little fun thing to talk about here. Bengals have won 3 of the last 4 following an 0-2 start. Joe Mixon has had at least 60 yards from scrimmage in every game this year. So shout out to Joe Mixon, who is, the Bengals they're looking to get things done. Now, one thing the 49ers will be able to do is take advantage of Cincinnati's bad third down defense. So the Bengals can get into third and short scenarios. That could be a good look for, if the 49ers can get in third and short situations, that'd be good. 49ers are 6th in the NFL in third down completions, while the Bengals are terrible on third downs. And they don't really defend third downs well either. They're 22nd in the NFL in that category. So whoever starts would be Darnold. They want to get into third and shorts where they have a chance to complete, because the Bengals struggle in that department defensively. So that's that. What else we got? We got final game on Sunday will be the Sunday Night Football with the Chicago Bears and the LA Chargers. Chargers took a beat down last week against the Chiefs. Oh, did I pick the game? I said, oh snap. Wait. Hold up. I skipped the game, guys. I'm sorry. I have to go back. The Bengal game, take the Bengals plus 3.5. I'm over here yapping off, and I didn't even pick the game. Bengals plus 3.5. Okay, there you go. Now, the other game was the Ravens versus Cardinals. Before we get to Sunday night, so I'm jumping the gun a bit. Baltimore Ravens 5-2, first in the AFC South, take on the Arizona Cardinals 1-6, and they're at the bottom. Cardinals are underdogs, 9.5-point underdogs. We got a heavy dose of underdogs this week, and I'm not going to stop here. I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals in the plus 9.5 Cardinals seem to play pretty decent when they have large point spreads against them. Now I know a few times this year they have not come through for us when they have large spreads, but for the most part, I'm looking at their last time they had a big spread, so I can have something to talk about. We picked them a few times this year, and where they had large spreads of 9 and more. And well, no, they didn't. Week 4, they was 14-point underdogs. They didn't come through, but they did come through on a plus 12 in week 3. They've had double digit spreads for a bunch of games this year, and at least two. The plus 7 on the road, they covered that in week 1. So yeah, it's plus 9. It's a big spread. 2 running quarterbacks. This game could be a lot closer. I know Baltimore looking like they're gonna run away and be one of the best teams in the AFC. I'm still not sold on the Ravens. Look, they 5-2. I get it. Their record looks good. I'm just not sold. I'm not sold. They got to keep doing it, and they get an easy one this week, right? But I'm just not sold. I think that they'll win this game, but the game will be close. Take the Cardinals plus 9.5. Okay, boom, done. Next, now we're on a Sunday night game. Sunday night football. The Chicago Bears head out to LA to take on Herbert and the Chargers. The Chargers are 8.5-point favorites at home. Chargers need to win badly here. They gotta beat the Bears at home, and they gotta beat them pretty good. I need a convincing win from the Chicago Bears. I mean, from the LA Chargers. Excuse me. You gotta win this game. You gotta convince me that you are legit. Because right now you're 2-4. You're not looking too good. You don't want to lose 3 in a row here. You're on primetime TV in LA. The stars will be out. Bright lights. You gotta beat the Bears ass. You gotta beat them up. Tyson, and you're going up against a quarterback named Tyson Bagent, undrafted rookie from Division 2. Okay. He's going to make his second start after Justin Fields dislocated his right thumb in week 6. Look, you're going up against Tyson Bagent. You got to beat the dog. You got to beat the brakes off this kid. Bosa, whoever's playing on defense, you got to, like, the Chargers, convince me you are a legit team by beating the brakes off the Bears. Like, I need double-digit victories on Sunday night. You got to embarrass them. You better blow them out, especially after you getting your ass kicked last week to the Chiefs. You got to blow them out. Let them know that, hey, we are still here. We got Herbert. We got big time. We're good. Chargers got to win big. Even if I picked the Chargers at 8.5. But they need to win this game by they got to cover this and more. They got to win this. They got to win this by at least double digits, or something's wrong. Don't let a Division 2 quarterback come in your house and beat you, or have a close game. This game should be over by halftime. All right, forget that. Fuck it. Like, don't play around with them. Now, the kid was good last week, right? Went 31-43. I mean, I'm not saying the guy's a scrub, but I'm just saying from the Chargers standpoint, no disrespect to Tyson, he's in the NFL, so he can play. Obviously, everybody can. They're pros. But the Chargers are supposed to be a Super Bowl contending team, and right now they're not looking like a playoff team. That's why they need to feast, get their confidence back. And how you get your confidence back? You win games like this. You feast. Get your stats up. Okay? That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Lick your chops and go after this team and beat them. If you are a legit team. Now, if you're just a regular team, that's okay. You're good. Yeah, you'll win the game. You probably win by 3, 5, 6. But if you're legit, you're still a team that want to be taken serious as a legit team. You will beat this team. You will beat the Bears by 9 and more. All right. All right. So that's it for Sunday's games. Take the Chargers and the 8.5. Let's go on to Monday night. The Las Vegas Raiders and the Detroit Lions. The Lions, the team that we like. This game will be on ABC, ESPN. Lions are 5-2. They're number one in the NFC North. It took a bit of a setback last week, but I don't think that's going to hold them back. Lions still come in with a pretty good offense. The defense is okay. They have a number 2 in NFL in rushing yards defense, number 5 in third down defense. So they have all the recipes to win this game, and um, with injuries and who's going to play, who's not for the Raiders are just not a good team. So even with the 7.5, I still like the Lions in this game at home to cover that. So take the Lions 7.5, and that is your week 8. Now let's recap real quick the picks for the final time. We got Tampa plus 9.5, Patriots plus 9.5, Commanders plus 7, Colts plus 1, Jaguars, Giants plus 3, Texans, Falcons, Packers plus 1.5, Cowgirls, Sea Chickens, Donkeys plus 7, Bengals plus 3.5, Cardinals plus 9.5, Chargers, and the Detroit Lions. So that's that. As you can see, a heavy dose of the favorites this week. We're running with them again, and we'll see if they are lucky to pull off W's for us. So that is it for the week 8 against the spread. The picks, you can find them on Instagram at SportsSteady, as well as X at GridironSteady and YouTube at GridironSteady. So let us know who you got. Put it in the comments. Send us an email at sportssteady@protonmail.com. Sportssteady at protonmail.com. And we'll see you guys next week. Enjoy the weekend. And I mean, look, on a side note, before we get out of here, I understand that there's some events going on around the world and as well as in the US, and people may not be in a good mood. And that's why we really didn't go live as the last couple of weeks, because we were trying to not really bring sports, but people are doing sports stuff, and I know this is a touchy topic on a lot of these issues going on. We have political fights, we got international conflicts, we got mass shooting just went on, and hopefully everyone out there is okay. And this sometimes sports is a bit of a distraction, right? That's why we don't really like politics in our sports, because sports is a place where we go to be distracted, to take a load off for the week, right? A one day out of a week or a weekend, you want to enjoy sports. You don't want political messaging thrown in your face or any of that kind of stuff. So that's why we still try to enjoy sports. But then we have all this stuff going into sports where they try to use sports to push their agendas, and that's why things are the way they are today. So hopefully the NFL week, football, sports in general, if you like sports or not, will give you just a slight bit of a distraction from the craziness that's happening in the world, just for a few minutes, right? An hour, a couple hours a day, and because you got to take a break. You cannot be drawn into the news and conflict all day long. You will go completely insane. I'm telling you. I know a lot of people out there that some people might have boycotted the sports world because of certain things that were going on. But I'm just telling you, find a sport. If it's not football, if it's any sport, find it. UFC, bowling, I don't care what it is. Do not abandon your sports because you think they're being overtaken by political messaging. You don't have to buy the gear. Shit, I haven't bought an NFL apparel or any sports apparel in decades, in a decade, and probably over a decade. because that's just my decision. But you don't have to buy the apparel. You know what I'm saying? The games come on CBS, Fox. You could. That's free stations, right? You don't have to go out. Don't go out of your way if you don't want to really pour money into the product. I get. I know that's a bad thing to say, not to buy, but if you really feel that way about it, but I say don't abandon. If you still got a team, listen to it on the radio, right? But don't get sucked into to the uh the social media and allow you to just completely wash your brain into what's happening in the news all day, because you will go insane and it's not a good look. Sports is a distraction. Keep it like that, and just that's what sports is there for, guys. Sports talk, um, sports talk radio. I listen to sports talk radio sometimes. Uh, I try to do that instead of the news. You can also read books, magazines, whatever you want to do. But sports is always going to be a good distraction to have, regardless. I think it's always going to be there. So, and there's a lot of stuff you can watch, guys. If you don't like the main networks that try to push agendas, then go to watch other networks. They got other networks. They got ACC network. They got Big 12, college football. They got other things other sports where you can watch. Don't abandon sports. That's all I'm saying. Do not abandon sports. There's always a sport out there that will support your values if that's what you're really deep about. Okay. But anyway, that's it for week 8 in the NFL. Picks against the spread, and hopefully we'll be back. We will be back. I can't even talk. We will be back on Tuesday or Wednesday to recap and pick game week 9. So that's it, guys. Have a good weekend. Peace out. Sports page run by sports fans. Peace.